Well, hello and welcome to the Mindset Mentor. I'm Tania Kolar, and this is your mindset workout. Remember that your mindset is like a muscle that needs to be strengthened and conditioned. So, we all know that when we go to the gym, we work on our biceps, our triceps, our abs, and we're really getting the benefits, and you see progress over time. So, it's the same thing with your mindset. We want to strengthen and condition and optimize our mindset for success, for having, the best day, and for helping you to be the best version of yourself, because you deserve to have an extraordinary life, because you are an extraordinary being. So I'm so excited to share with you today a great conversation. We're going to chat with iconic Canadian designer Brian Bailey, who is a good friend, and we're catching up, and we're going to check in and see what he's up to, what's going on, what's he doing in the middle of a pandemic, and what does the future look like? I think a lot of us are in that situation and trying to project out, hey, what's going to happen in the future? And so let's just check in and say hello to the one and only Brian Bailey. So good to have you here. Welcome, welcome.
Thanks, Tony. It's great to be here. So, how are you coping? Are you doing well? You look well. You look really well. I haven't seen you in a long time.
I
And
know.
we've known each other a long time. Well, fairly long time, but we don't see each other. But it's just like old friends just pick up the phone and have a go at each other. And it's like, okay, that's good. How are you? What are you doing?
We haven't
Now
missed.
I know what you're doing. So how are you? I'll shut up.
You know what? I'm doing great. I am doing great. And it's exciting because, I've been focused on building my business. So I'm fortunate that, in the middle of this sort of shutdown, this global shutdown, so to speak, I've kept myself busy. And I think for me, that has really helped with my mindset and really helped me to optimize my mindset, because if I didn't have that, I know I would have a hard time with that. And like so many people, in life, we always need to have purpose, right? Purpose is provides that meaning for us. We have to feel as though we have significance and to feel that validation, right? The contribution. And so for me, that contribution has actually been really great, because I can create, I can, work on different programs and my personal development company and my coaching business as well. So I'm fortunate that I have that. But I want to know more about you, my friend. And see, there you are, so giving, always asking about other people. So thank you for that. But let's talk about you for a good while.
Oh, I think you know what I think people, they'll hear from both of us. So I totally want to hear about you for sure, because I think that in this particular time with this pandemic, or if it's now an endemic, it's going to be here forever, and we've come a long way to learning how to cope with, understanding COVID and understanding the ramifications of how people feel, with their life and how their life has changed
Mhm.
and how they've made it better themselves, just by digging in and saying, okay, this is going to be the way it is. This is what I have to do. And how am I going to make each day productive? And then being productive, I think, is what the key is, like, like seriously, Tanya, so many people, I still go to work. I have a studio where it's my own studio. There's people, my staff doesn't come, but
Mhm.
I still go into my studio because that's the best place for me to create. If I'm doing stuff at home, then it's okay too. But I probably would say I still go to my offices. So I'm very fortunate. This COVID deal hasn't really affected me directly. My heart sympathizes for anybody that's suffering or has lost loved ones due to this
Yeah.
terrible disease. But really, I think it's done a lot of people, I have to say this with trepidation, a lot of good, because we're forced to go inside and look to see what we need to do to make our lives whole each day. So, the creative person that you are, with mindset and setting a positive, you know, balance in your head every day, I think is really key. So what you do for a living and what you're doing for a living is really important to a lot of people. And I think the more people get to know you, the better, and the better their life is going to be, because they're going to be stronger having talked to you, because you're very positive, and that's really pretty joyful in itself. So I think that's important for me. for designing is like, you know, the designers that we are a different crew. We sometimes we feel creative in a rainstorm. Sometimes we feel creative in, you know, we'll see the sunshine in the worst possible moments of time, and it's, you know, those are what we hope to portray in our work. That, you know, that feeling of some kind of joy came out of that long period of time where it wasn't the same or wasn't as what it used to be. What used to be was what it's that's gone. And so now we have to make new. And that's what being a designer is all about. We have to make something new. We have to be creative. And yeah, I enjoy it. So
Wow. Yeah, I love that. And you know that creative process is so important, and it does actually really help to create a mindset of growth. It's really that growth mindset, right? When we're stuck in a fixed mindset, we believe that we can't learn anymore. And so to stretch the imagination, and I think that creativity process, you know, is huge in expanding you know, beyond what you think you're capable of, because there's always that other side. There's more. Once we pass that threshold of what our limitations are, and think outside the box and start being creative and allow that innovation to sort of pour through us, is a beautiful thing. And
mhm.
and I agree with you that this time is a perfect opportunity to look within and to say, hey, like, what can I do for myself, and how can I better, you know, present myself moving forward for myself? And not, it's not about everybody else, it's about for you. Because when you can tap into that beautiful silence and that stillness, which we've all, you know, been forced into at this point. Now, I understand, and please don't, you know, get me wrong, I fully understand that people are extremely stressed out, you know, and unfortunately, some lives, many lives, too many lives have been lost due to this pandemic. But there's also the other part of it where there's a gift, and of course, I always believe that there's a gift in all of the challenges and all of the adversities in life. And it may take a while, right, to actually understand what that is and what that looks like and what the benefit will be. And it may be years out, you know, for some people, but it may be an instant for others where they just get it. It's like, wow. So now I can actually hear myself. I can experience myself. I can now figure out what it is that I want, instead of the jumble and the chaos and the mind clutter through the constant day to day, and the day to day that doesn't feel good. Now, there's a huge difference when you can, you know, let's say, for example, you can go to your studio and create and do what you love, because that is a passion for you. You followed a passion, you're still creating, you know, many years later, still loving what you do and helping others through the design process. But some people, they don't like what they do. And that has created a lot of you know, a block that you can't let anything else in when you're so stressed about, gosh, I really hate this day. And, you know, I can't wait for this to be over. And what am I going to do after?
Mm.
Or just trying to pay the bills and, you know, keep up. And especially now, a lot of jobs are lost, and people are left wondering, like, oh my goodness. But in that case as well, I mean, you have to take action, do what you can do, of course, to protect yourself. But, you know, maybe it's the opportunity now to start your own business, right? Or to change career paths,
Mm.
or to really understand, like, what's going to make your soul happy? What's going to light your fire, right?
You can go to university online today. You
Yeah.
don't have to go. You don't have to go to the physical university. You can take courses online at universities. You can do a course with you that's going to take you know, your negative. Oh, I can't do that. What if? What if? What if? And it's like it hopefully changes the what ifs to I can. And you know, that's kind of what it's about. That's what gets me through the day. I think I just really believe that I don't know. I'm, you know, it's not to say it's been easy for me because my store is closed. The people that work for me are not working there, you know, and my concern is for them, and I've done my very best to make sure that they are okay and they're doing okay. And you know, we live in a world today where there's still opportunities, whereas when these type of things happened 100 years ago or 50 or 60 years ago, or when there was tragedy even after World War II, whatever.
Mhm.
It was a dark period because we didn't have what we're dealing with right now, such as the internet, such as Zoom videos, such as television. All of these things are magic for us, and we have to be able to use them. And Tanya, I want to say one thing. Being an old guy, is that it's made me smarter. I am now able to accomplish. I'm not I was never afraid of computers or dealing with the internet because it's been a part of my life for the last 20 years. But oh, we'll just hire somebody to do that, or we'll just like, okay, I'll do that in time. And it's like, and of course, the first thing that comes to my mind is that, oh my God, I don't know a thing about this. Like what? And it's like, even today when I was saying I haven't used Zoom in quite some time, because I use other platforms also. But I just think to set it up, it's no big deal. You just kind of have to dig in there and look at the screen, Brian, and go, okay, video on. Oh, that's good. Okay, we're good. Oh yeah, there's the lovely Miss Kolar. Oh, hi, how are you? And I think that it's possible. I gave my aunt, who is 90 years old and she lives in Alberta, I sent her a really good iPad.
Mm-hmm.
And she still hasn't used it. And I just thought, these are the people that need these kind of this technology the most, because they are trapped and they are shut in and they aren't, that family can't come up and give them a big hug. And I think that each day is probably, because I'm a very social person.
Really?
I don't rush up to people and give, huh? Well, it's like I like to hug, but I'm not crazy, but.
Yeah.
So this has changed, the physical presence is different today. And I think that we have to understand that it will come back, but it'll be slightly different. But, back to this iPad thing, it's like my aunt's actually sitting down now after a year, and she's realizing that she can play bridge on the iPad. And this is her communication with her peers that she plays bridge with, keeps her mind sharp and everything kind of, she feels more in touch with the world. And I think that's really important. I think that to be creative, you can't do it in a vacuum. I go for a walk every day. I do a 2-hour walk every day.
Wow.
And that's just my breath of fresh air, literally and figuratively. And I think that we need those type of things. I mean, even doing this is like, oh my gosh, the media has changed so much. Like here we are doing a radio show, and you're at home and I'm at home, and it's the sound and everything will be perfect. If we didn't tell them that, they would never think anything different. Oh, they're in the studio, and
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So there's a lot of hardship out there right now. I think there is people being forced to take a look at their life and realize that times are changing. Mm-hmm. And how can they change? And but there also is ways for people to help each other. So, I just think it's really important that we reach out to people, and if we haven't heard from them for a while, we give them a call and we say, hi, how are you? What do you like? How are you doing? How are you coping through all of this? And I mean, and do it sincerely. If there are people that you feel you should, but you don't really want to, don't do it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Call somebody else that's going to make you feel good too, because that's part of the deal. I think, don't you? It's like that makes me feel good, and that makes me more creative. So all of those positive and that juice and that energy that I'm getting from doing things that are positive for myself and hopefully helpful to others, it allows me to relax and just kind of see my way through another show at the Shopping Channel. It's like, okay, it seems like I've gotten busier and busier, and I'm very fortunate, and I love all my customers, but oh my gosh, it's like I'm pretty much on there every month, and it's like I'm going, okay, it's like every once in a while I step back and I go, this is the negative in my head going, oh my God, they're going to get tired of me. They won't want to see me. It's like, oh, he's on again. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I hope I bring not just the fact that I want to show them what I do and hopefully have them purchase something, because that makes a lot of people's lives better, because we employ a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But just the fact that we can come on there and entertain and have fun. And I think that it's having fun and enjoying life somehow, some way, because, oh my God, man, oh man, you just never know you never know when the switch is going to go off. So you might as well have had fun with what you're doing. And maybe that's what people need to realize today, is that, in the darkest moments come this great light. And it's not a proverb. It's not religious, I believe, but I just think that there is a greatness that can come from being in a place and going through this kind of pandemic that we have going on. I mean, the frustration is there on many different levels, but don't get frustrated. Just like carry on and keep your head above, keep it calm and just go forward. Go for a walk. That's the best. I think that's the best thing that I should have been doing that 30 years ago, but I'm doing it for the last 5 years. So that's good too. And there's never a day when you should never, I believe that you should never say never. There's always a moment where, yes, I can. Whether it's exercise, whether it's changing your eating habits, then I'm talking about personal, looking after yourself personally. And I mean, I've seen that, you have never put on a pound. I mean, you always look put together, and it's like,
oh, no,
and yet I know you have moments where it's this, I've kind of maybe witnessed a few of them where you're just kind of ready to levitate, it's like, what? Lady Kolar's out of whack. It's like, no. Oh, you mean you're real? Oh, that's great. I love it when you,
So funny. Listen, I've been right there with everybody. I gained some weight during COVID, but
you did not.
I did. No, honestly, I did. So you're saying now after, because I recognized it. So I said to myself, okay, so I allowed myself to, gain the weight. And now I'm going to do something about it, because this is not what I want for myself. And it's not, helping me to feel better every day. So for me, I know what my ideal weight is for me to have the energy that I want in my day. And everybody's different. You all have what feels comfortable to you, but you want to do things that nourish your body, because that nourishes your soul, it nourishes your mind. And, I love that you go out and take that, 2-hour walk in nature and just absorb that, get the energy. And it's so good for the body. It's good for the mind. And I also think, it is so important to stay in the moment. You talked about that experience of, being at the shopping channel and, in the mind going, oh, well, what if, they don't love me anymore, or they don't want this or whatever, they get tired of you, whatever you think. And it's like, because we're projecting out into the future. But if you bring it back to the moment, it's like, because you love what you do. You love that experience. You love giving to your customers. It's the entertainment factor. It's the, what can I provide? Not just through the material product of the clothing, but it's like the gift of, what it means and the effort and the love that you've put into that creation. I know that together we've had some amazing shows, and because you're fun and you have that love and it comes through. So people, I think, experience that energy. It's really interesting. There's a man, he's a Japanese, billionaire, Wake Takeda, I believe his name is. Or close to that. I'm sorry if I got that name wrong, but he had a.
Is he single?
I don't know. We should find out, eh? Gotta pay the bills here during COVID. But listen, he had a cookie company. That's how he actually started his empire. And what
cookies?
Cookies, baby cookies. Mm-hmm. But he played this music in the background in the factory every day, all day. And it was about happiness, it was like laughter and happiness. And he infused those cookies with that energy. And he's like, every baby that takes a bite of that cookie has all of that happiness and all of that love. So it's the same thing when I hear you talk about, creating your whether it's a dress or a sweater, whatever it is, what your masterpieces, so to speak, right? Like those are your babies. You've created that. And you put all that love, but somebody gets to wear that and experience that, because life is about energy. Everything is energy. We are masses of energy. So it's so important to be mindful of the energy that we're putting out, because that's what we're sending out to everybody else, right? So we want to make sure that, even on the days that we don't feel so great, try to do something to switch your vibration, change your physiology. Go for that beautiful 2 hour walk. And listen, that could be a 15-minute walk for you at home.
Mm.
And that's going to be helpful. So I think it's really important to do whatever it is that we can. It doesn't have to be this big monumental effort, but really important to not let the what if scenarios of the potential disasters that could happen, because we just got to focus on now what's going on in this moment, like, because we don't know, and everything is so uncertain right now, and that's where the fear is coming in, and
Mm.
really creating uncomfort, like a discomfort.
I think, yeah, we don't know, but we do know where we're at. You can ground yourself, and I think that's what, for me, that's what I have to do. That's what grounds me. And sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's 2 hours. Most of the time, I just try to keep. I know physically, this is one thing that, when you used to hear people say, well, when you get to be my age, then this is what's going to be. And I'm going, oh my goodness, I'm becoming one of those, and it's like, you understand and I think a lot of people, when you stop and think about it, will say, when you eat the wrong thing, you feel, and your body says it's talking to you. When you drink too much, the next day you feel like a dirt bag, and excuse the expression, but that's literally how I used to feel.
Mhm.
And I have had those occasions when I did drink too much, surprisingly so.
Yeah.
However, I think what's really important is that you just carry on. You don't let it rule you. You just kind of find another way to I mean, one day it's an hour, the next day it's 40 minutes or whatever. I mean, I took up ice skating again, and I love skating. I played.
Wow, oh, coordination.
Yeah.
Good for you. Yes.
Well, once I skated my whole life, and I just stopped doing it because I got so busy. But now there's an ice rink, like literally 2 blocks behind my house. The other thing that COVID has done, which I'm very fortunate, I realized that, but is that I've fallen in love with my home again.
Oh, nice.
And
Okay.
and I think we take our homes for granted. That's where we live.
Mhm.
And to keep them clean, or to keep them as best you can, representative of how you want to feel that day, is really important too. And I don't have a housekeeper. I have had housekeepers in my life, but I clean my own home. And it's like, well, yeah, so you should, Brian. Well, yeah, but I know a lot of guys that don't do it. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
smell the coffee. It's like, wow, this is, damn, were those socks still there? They've been there for 2 weeks. And who put them there? Me, And it's like,
No one else to blame. That's it. Yeah.
no, it's true, right? So I just think, I mean, I have in the summer, I had the best, like Tanya, I had the most beautiful summer, apart from the time when I was living in Greece. And that was many, many years ago. But this summer in Toronto, I mean, I've had many great summers, but this one was spectacular. There was a sense of calm. I knew where all my staff was. I knew where I needed to be. And when I was home, I could relax. I don't know why that
Mhm.
happened, but I just felt a sense of enjoyment. And I was concerned about what was going on, but I also realized that I was doing my best to make sure that I was doing what was going to help society. And that was, you know, not being out there and going to the parties or going to the social engagements and saying no, because 6 months ago we didn't have as much information as what we have today. And so it's a different, it's just, I have a different sensibility, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. And for somebody who is over 60, or over 50, or over 40, or even over 30, you know what? You really have to stop and take or count up or absorb what you really do know and how you feel. So I guess that's what I'm trying to get, is that our mind and our body, like they need to work together. And this is the time for us to make that happen. So that's pretty cool. And I think, my design mind never stops, never, ever, ever stops. And I think that the creative person is always creating, always creating. And that's why they can never pay us enough to be designers. You know, I was the guy that designed forks. I mean, God love him. You know, like who made the first fork? We can now eat like, you know, how we no food flying around the table because we're using our hands to stuff it in there into our mouth. We're actually using a knife and a fork.
Well, someone had the imagination and the idea and put it into practice and got it done, right?
Yeah. And you know what? It was a spur of the moment thing. You know, the best jacket that this is how fast something's can happen. Mm-hmm. I did a jacket once where it took me about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half to do the pattern for it and to create the jacket. It was just like, okay, it was just happened, you know, like you're doing it, you're drafting it, you're making the pattern, you're cutting it out, and you put it on the Judy. And it's like, yeah, that's going to work. And you know what? I knew it was going to sell just by looking at it. And it didn't take 7 months to create this jacket. It took an hour and 20 minutes. But those are the magical moments, because there's lots of moments where it does take more time to create things or to build things or to rejuvenate yourself or whatever it is, you know. Those are the magic moments that you have to take heed in. You never want to forget those ones, because those are the ones you want to remember when you need a little bit of boost for your battery later on.
Yes, so that little push to keep on going and get the motivation, you know, and that actually is you know, part of that reward center, right? The dopamine release in the body, in the brain, right? Where you now crave more of that. When you have it, you know what it feels like, you want more of it. And so it's good to sort of acknowledge yourself for those successes and those wins. And that's extraordinary to create something out of nothing from an idea in an hour or so, that has this like lasting effect. That's amazing. And I think that, you know, even something as simple as, like you were talking about how, you know, you keep everything tidy, you are your housekeeper, you're talking about that and that cleanliness and, you know, having things organized. And that is really important as well for the mental clarity. And I know that from personal experience. When there's chaos around me and I've got piles and papers and books and stuff like that, you know, I start to go, and my brain goes into overdrive. That's something that I've learned actually in the past few years, is to be much more organized. Because I've noticed that when I feel chaotic, my surroundings are a disaster. And so I've recognized that pattern and I've fixed it. I'm like, all right, so now every single day, I get out of bed and I fix my bed immediately. I don't wait, you know, I get up and I get to bed. And that's just a habit. I've created that habit. You know, I always put the dishes away now. And before I like maybe, you know, a couple things, I'll get to that later. It's like, but if I just did it, took 2 extra seconds in this moment, my day is going to be so much more peaceful. And I think in those, it's those peaceful moments, as you say, that you do tend to become more creative, because you now have quieted that inner chatter that keeps all of that away from you. You know, you can't really tap into your authentic self and your purpose when you've got so much external noise, and the external noise shows up as the clutter around the house. And so I think there's many people, Brian, right now who can relate to you, and that they're loving their home again because they have decluttered, they've organized, things are peaceful, they can breathe again, they can relax, maybe get rid of some of the stuff that's been around that you haven't used in a few years because you'll never use it. And that's something that I do in my storage. I'm like, okay, I'm going to just get rid of stuff. I'm going to donate and give away because it's sitting in there for like years, right?
You know what's amazing is that there's almost like an over donation going on out there, because I drive by the thrift stores and I'm walking by the thrift stores and I'm saying, they're going, oh shit, that's really nice, look at that. Like whatever's going on, I'm going, oh my God, you can tell that people are purging their homes or whatever. I mean, I think there's a point of, you know, I mean, the Marie Kondo, you know, that's not for everybody. There's a lot of, that's
extreme cleaning and organization. Yes.
Yeah, but to me, there's great things to take out of that, but that doesn't mean that every ounce of that diet works for you. You know, it's like in my office, there's moments where there has to be some mess and there has to be some chaos and whatever, because that's just the way it works. And then there's times where, all right, let's get busy, let's clean this place up. Or in my home, I mean, oh my God, as a kid growing up, oh man, I remember waking up one time at 2 in the morning, and my dad came downstairs, and he said, "What in the heck are you doing, boy?" And I said, "I can't stand it." And then he started to laugh. He says, "We wondered how long it was going to take for you to clean this place up." And it was just like, I'll never forget it. My whole life, my dad standing there laughing hysterically because they knew that it would surround me eventually. Yeah, it was like, oh my God. Yeah, but you know what? It was just, and it was, there was a lot of positive things that happened after I did that, and it was great. But it happens throughout your life. So those people that are out there that may be listening, it's like, we're not trying to say that, you know, you should have a clean house or your house should be perfect. No, it should be lived in. You should enjoy it. But for you know, there's never a moment where you look at it and kind of go, like you just said, it only takes another 2 seconds to put those dishes away, because everybody likes to grab a clean plate from the cupboard.
Yeah.
And then when there's no clean plates in the cupboard, that's not so pretty a picture, let me tell you. So I think we all have life lessons to, you know, and there comes a point where you just use them. They're not just theories, they're actually put into use. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think that's what I've acquired recently, is that I'm putting more of my theories into work. And it's like, wow, that really does happen. That really is good. Like, gee whiz, that's dandy.
Old age, as you say, huh? Old man, you called yourself an old man, but certainly you're not. But, you know, I think, but that's, hey, listen.
No, I said I was older. I don't think I said I was an old man.
Well, I'm going to play this back and see, but I think you might have. If you didn't, oops. Sorry. Yeah. No, you know I love you. You know, I think you're just a young, handsome man, young at heart always. You'll always be
young at heart.
Even when you're 100, so it's okay. But I think you're absolutely right. And I think we can start with even like, you know, start with a room, start with a drawer. It's like, hey, just don't stress yourself out. There's enough stress in the world right now. But, you know, we see this because if you can have a clean surrounding, you honestly will feel so much better. And I think that's really important, to find things that we can do for ourselves right now, today, in this moment. Mm-hmm. It's in this moment. Don't even think about later on tonight or later. You know, it's like in this moment, what's going to make me feel better? And that's okay if it's lying on the sofa watching Netflix or, you know, staying in your PJs all day. Great. Then you know what? Do that. Do what makes you feel good in this moment. But if you know it's not serving you, then we need to start changing those patterns so that we can live our best lives. Now, we do have to take a short break here. So we're going to be back more with the iconic Canadian designer, Brian Bailey. It's so good to have you here, and I can't wait to continue the conversation when we come back here on Sauga 960 AM. And welcome back to the Mindset Mentor. I'm Tania Kolar, having a great conversation with my good friend, designer, Canadian designer, iconic designer, Brian Bailey. It is such a pleasure to see you. I know for everyone at home, they can't see that we can see each other. We are on a Zoom call, so it's a pleasure to catch up. And again, it really shows the importance of, you know, staying connected with people. And we have an opportunity to see each other, even with this stay-at-home order and, you know, the lockdown. So it is a pleasure to have you here and to be able to see you and catch up. So I want to just dive right back into the conversation, you know, and just see, you know, what's going on and how are you feeling, and, you know, what's happening for you? What's next? I know that you're always busy designing. You continue to be busy at the shopping channel, which is, this has been a really good gig, steady gig for you for a long time now at the shopping channel. Okay,
did they call it gigs? Yeah, I guess so. It's a gig.
Yeah, absolutely, it is.
I just think, okay, yeah, that's cool. A gig. It's for me. It's I'm you know, I'm happy there. I'm not the easiest guy in the world to work with, believe me, because I ask a lot of myself and I ask a lot of the amazing people that are at the shopping channel. So a shout out to everybody that's there, because they work very hard, and the customers that keep us alive and keep us going. A shout out to them too if they're listening, and if they're not, then I'll say, why aren't you listening to Tania Kolar on
Oh,
the.
why are you listening to Brian Bailey? And then, hey, listen, if you guys want to send a message to Brian Bailey, send me an email at tanya@tanyakolar.com, and I'm happy to pass on and forward the message. Yes.
Yeah. I think, I think this, when this life has lots to offer, and there's never a moment where I don't usually do interviews like this anymore. And it's not that I'm a recluse or something like that, but you're a special lady. So I just want to put that out there, that it's like, you know what, you're working very hard, and you have a passion for what you're doing, and it's evident. And that's why I'm here talking to you. And it's like, I think, it's proving to me also that I cannot just sell clothing, that I actually have a mental side to me also, which is, I have many other things that happen in my life besides designing clothing. So, I like to ride horses. I like to ice skate. I'm ice skating a game, which I encourage. If you're a skater and you haven't skated in a few years, then I don't know, you should maybe think about buying a pair of skates. They're really inexpensive today too.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Okay, so like, what's a good tip on how to be a better skater? I mean, I haven't skated for a long time, but the last time I went skating, I was awful. And
I just think you have to do. Come on, nobody's awful. It's like if you haven't done it for a while. What?
I was awful. Yeah, for sure. There's no doubt about it.
There was no triple nuts, Tania?
No,
Like, seriously?
No, a couple of triple falls, face plants, yes.
I just think you have to do. I mean, who cares? I mean, right now you can only, I think there's I don't know, is there 20 people in the rink at a time?
Yeah.
So, even swimming, in the summer I went back swimming. So that even made my summer more enjoyable. And it was very safe. And again, I discovered my world around where I live in Toronto that I really, for some reason, just never took the time to discover it. I've always loved Toronto. I've always loved, I'm a big lover of Canada. I've traveled all over the world, and every time I hit the tarmac, I breathe a sigh of relief, and I go, oh man, I'm home. And you see that Canadian flag, and if I get to see it flying, those great big huge ones, it brings a tear in my eye to see it and to really know that this is one of the most beautiful countries in the world. So to be able to be called a Canadian designer is a privilege, and it's something I don't take lightly. So the Shopping Channel provides a great encore for my career to be, physically available through your television across Canada. And I guess in my career too, maybe you just never know. Being a designer isn't just creating clothing. It's understanding people's lifestyles, and it's understanding the energy, or the kinetic energy that is happening in regards to clothing being an important part of your life. And people will say to me, oh, I don't worry about what I wear. I don't think about what I wear. I just put it on. And I go, yeah, right. You don't think about what you wear. If I gave a guy a pair of sparkly pants to wear first thing in the morning, and that was what he had to wear, he'd have an opinion. He'd be thinking about what he was going to wear. Yeah. It's like, no, I'm not wearing those sparkly pants. And why? Why don't you want to wear those sparkly pants? Because that fashion speaks the language to how he's going to be perceived by the people around him. Mm-hmm. And so therefore he's going to leave those sparkly pants at home and going to put on his dirty old work pants or his suit or whatever he's got, and be represented through the fashion that he's wearing. So fashion is very, very important. That was an extreme example, but the Queen of England is always wants to make sure that people know where she is, or if she's at an occasion, she wants to stand out in the crowd, and good for her. Yeah. And so therefore she wears bright colors, and that's my head to toe. It's like that. I just love the old girl. She's God. Somebody's going, don't call her an old girl, but it's like, I just think it's amazing what fashion can do for your life, and it doesn't have to be extreme, but it's a privilege and an honor to do what I do for a living, for sure, and in Canada, absolutely, and to be on the Shopping Channel is a privilege too. And I think I do other things. I've done uniform work. I don't think there's an airline there's 5 airlines that I've worked for indirectly in various capacities to do uniform work. And that's the other thing, Tanya, is like I can see a complete workforce change their energy within that workplace because of what they're wearing and how they look.
Yeah.
It has brought a whole new dynamic to the business side. All of a sudden, people look put together. And the reaction of the customer to that person that they're dealing with, representing that company, is a totally different experience. They're not about to complain as often if somebody is dressed and looking put together.
Yeah.
You're not about to get as much negativity from consumers if you take on the part of representing in a polished way as much as you can through the uniform or through your own personal wardrobe at work. I mean, when I think about it, and I talk a lot, so feel free to interrupt. Go shush, Brian, for a minute.
Okay, I'm actually going to wrap up in a couple minutes. So, but yeah,
okay.
I'll let you finish this. Yeah, go ahead.
In my lifetime, the nurses, and I have huge respect for nurses, but there's something that happened when the uniform became scrubs. And as a designer, it doesn't mean I want to put them back into that white uniform. But there was a respect that was held for a doctor in a lab coat or a nurse in a white uniform. Immediately, you were spoken to differently. You were not there. You were a professional. And this is the thing that I think sometimes we are missing in fashion today. And it's like, that's not to go back, but it's like to understand the importance of what you wear and how you wear it. And, that really does make a difference to your day. It really, really, really does.
It does.
And that's, and you know what? You know that as much as I do. So, yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I had a conversation the other day with a friend of mine, and I was telling her how I was doing a Zoom call, and I miss wearing heels. I miss getting dressed up, putting heels on, because I love heels, and I feel empowered, when I have a nice outfit on and I have my heels. You stand differently. So I did a Zoom call, and some people will, have no shoes or put their slippers on. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put my heels on. I'm gonna sit here with my heels on. Nobody can see my feet except for me. But for me, it was the attitude, and it was what I felt in that moment for me. And I told my friend this, and she did that. She had a call. She's like, I'm going to get dressed up. And I asked her after, did she do it? She said, yeah. And I put my jewelry on, and she felt great. And she said, I felt like I was in control. I got control back. I think now, in the moment where we feel like we don't have control, do what you can. And I do think it's a huge part, that fashion and what you wear and how you present yourself. Do it for yourself. It's not about, hey, what everyone else is thinking. It's like, do that for yourself. And unfortunately, we are out of time. I wish I had much, much more time to chat with you, but it's been an absolute pleasure. I thank you for the beautiful and gracious words that you have said. And I say it right back to you. And thank you for doing what you do, helping people to feel better through your designs, through your clothing, through the love that you infuse into the threads, and for a wonderful, gregarious personality, always lively and passionate, and continue to entertain on the stages across the country, via the Shopping Channel, TV, and all the other stuff that's coming down the pipeline for you as well. So I do thank you so much for being here.
All the best to you. And I'm going to look forward to hearing all of these shows coming up from you on the radio. And I'm going to look forward to, I'm going to watch you very carefully now.
Because, okay.
Yeah, because not carefully, just with excitement, because I'm thrilled with what you're doing. And I think that the world has a spot for you for encouraging other people to think better of themselves and to be positive. And if anybody can help somebody do that, that's you, Lady Kolar.
Well, my dear friend, Your Eminence, I thank you so much. Those are our nicknames for each other, by the way. But I do thank you so much for that. And for everybody listening, I really hope that you take some of those words and the advice and the tips that Brian gave on, what he does to keep himself feeling good and motivated and creative. And remember that you are an extraordinary being, and you are meant to have an extraordinary life. So enjoy, and we'll see you next Saturday at 11 a.m. here on Sauga 960.